Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Monday, the 16th of May, 2016, and this is episode 179. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. How are you today? I am doing pretty okay. I'm super tired. Been working a lot. I worked 6 days last week, so yeah. I'm kind of tired. The big event, though, this week, I think, is that there is a new member of my knitting group, tentatively. Yesterday, I was getting ready for knitting, and Gabriel was like, Mom, I really want to go to knitting with you. Knitting's really, really fun. And I was like, okay, so here's the thing. We're going to go to knitting, and you are going to want to go play with the train, and that's not happening because I just want to sit and knit with my friends. And he was like, no, I want to come sit and knit with you. So I was like, okay, we'll try this out. So we went. I brought a knitting project for him, which it's the log cabin blanket that I started ever ago that I haven't worked on in forever. Brought that for him. I also brought a coloring book because I was like, yeah, there's no way he's knitting for 2 hours. No way. He knit about 10 stitches on the blanket. So then I finished off the row because it was already started, and why not? So it does have one more row on it. Not enough to show you though. And he colored for a while, and we had Starbucks together because the Barnes & Noble has a Starbucks cafe. That's not actually Starbucks. They just serve Starbucks drinks. Yeah, it was fun, and he did not talk to anybody. He kind of just sat there and like looked around and was very quiet. He's not super shy, but he's kind of shy. He's kind of like me. Like if he doesn't really know you, he doesn't really talk a lot. But it was fun. It was fun having him there. So maybe I'll let him come back. Not every week for sure, because knitting time is mommy time, but maybe every month or so ish. Maybe. We'll see. It's definitely not a no, he can't go with me to knitting anymore because he was really, really good. And then in the like 7 minutes before we were going to leave, I let him go back and play with the trains by himself. I don't know if that's irresponsible, but he's 7. He's super responsible. He knows not to talk to strangers. He knew exactly where he was going. He knew exactly where I was. He knows our phone number. Like, the store is not that big, and I have a pretty good view of the door from where I sit in the cafe. So I let him go on his own for 7 minutes and play with the trains, and he was just playing quietly back there when I got there. You know, as I was cleaning up our mess and knitting a final round on whatever I was knitting on. I don't even remember at this point. Anyway, so let's talk about the small things knit along. I said last week, because we had filled up a page of writing, that I would draw for a prize this week. There were 2.5 pages of entries yesterday. There were more this morning that didn't get added in. Anything that's after my post of my collage is not added in here for prize drawing, but it'll be edited next week. So I hope that's okay with you guys. I just didn't want to spend more time writing and cutting and folding today because I woke up super late. I normally record in the morning and it's 1:28 because I didn't wake up until noon. I woke up a few times. Mara had been in and out of my bed reading and stuff with me all morning, but I didn't wake up for the day until noon. So yes, those will be in the next drawing. I am kind of excited because I had all of the paper things in a little ceramic cup thing. This. I had them all in this, which is something that I picked up from an art sale at college. I was a theater major, and the art building was right behind the theater building. So the theater building had what was called the Rock, where people would paint messages, and it was also on a really good corner for like art sales and stuff. So I got this little awesome dish, beautiful thing for like $2. because the students were selling their pieces for supplies, basically. And they were selling everything really, really cheap, and I loved this one. Anyway, I had all of the papers in there until yesterday when I finally finished cutting and stuff, because there's just too many. And they're going to be too many for this jar probably by the next time I record. So I'll have to find a bigger vessel to hold all the things. Anyway, shake it up and pull out a name for a winner. The way it's going to work is whoever wins, contact me for your prize, even if it's donated by someone else, so that I know that you saw the podcast. I'm not contacting anybody. You have to let me know that you saw it. And then if you want something from me, I will get that out to you as soon as possible. If it's a pattern, tell me what you want. If it's an actual item, PM me your address. And if it's from someone else, I'll get you in contact. I feel like I just said that very scattered. I think you understand. If you've watched any podcast, you probably understand how this works. So anyway, prize for the week. I'm so excited. You guys are kicking butt over there. My hand almost fell off yesterday writing things down. Okay, so here is the piece of paper. And the winner is Cat Straight. Who is Cat? And she, the winning post was post 78. She made a mitered square. So Cat, get in touch. Let me know what you want. And I'll get that to you, or someone else will get it to you as soon as possible. It's super exciting. I think that there are enough prizes that I can probably draw a prize a week for the rest of the knit-along. I'm pretty sure. That would be exciting, right? So come back again next week and you could win. And Kat could win again because this piece of paper is not going back in, but she has other entries. So winning one time in this doesn't mean that you can't win again. Okay, so my knitting. I finished the House Targaryen socks by Christine Pike, and here they are in this lovely yarn, which is Marigold Jen in the Yoshi colorway, and I love it, and it looks good with my earring. What do you think? They're not matchy, but kind of matchy. I'm really liking this color combination right now, this blue-greeny thing. I mean, I always like it, but especially this spring. I don't know, I'm obsessed with it. So last week I had the first sock completed, and I was here on the second sock. So this was completed. So I finished the foot, got to the toe. This is a free pattern. It's pretty well written. There are no heel or toe instructions in the pattern. So I did a Eye of Partridge heel with a garter stitch, like selvage edge, sort of. Oh, this way. Which made picking up the stitches really, really nice. And it looks nicer, I think, than when you pick up stitches on a normal heel flap edge. What else did I do? I did a normal toe decrease where you decrease every other round. Yeah, pretty straightforward socks. So they are blocked and washed and lovely. I need to put them away in plastic because they're for Haley, and Haley is allergic to cats, and I have about 8,000 cats. So yeah, I'm super happy with this finish. I've been working on it for a couple of weeks though, so I've said a lot about it. I think you guys already know things. And the yarn is lovely. Marigold Jen does a gorgeous job. Her bases are super, super nice. So if you get a chance to get her stuff, definitely do it. I started spinning a new project on my wheel, and it is actually attached to my wheel, so I'm not going to pull it too hard, but this is from Stitch Punk, who is in Australia, I believe. I don't know. It doesn't say on here, But I'm pretty sure that she's an Australian dyer. I don't even know if she dyes anymore because this is, I bought 2 braids from her and they were the first fibers that I bought when I started spinning. I had been gifted several fibers to learn how to spin, but this was the first thing that I purchased. This and another braid, which the other braid was bruised. It was pink and black. You might remember me spinning that at one point. I spun it with some faux cashmere, maybe. I can't remember what it was. I spun it with something from Spartacus dyes. I made that into hand spun for that cowl thingy, Zuzu's Petals. This is my oldest braid. I do have a little bit of fiber that's older than this because I got it like a week before I got this, but it's not fancy fiber. It's like beginner spinning fiber. So that's the stuff that I dip into when people are like, oh, I kind of want to spin. And I'm like, oh, here, have a length of fiber to try out with one of my spindles and see if you like it. And I have also used that fiber. It's brown. I've used it as a ply with other things every once in a while. I did that with the batlings from Hobbledehoy, the Winterfell batlings. This colorway is Bubble Wrap, and it is 22 micron hand-dyed merino. It is beautiful. On my blanket post, I do this post. I used to do it every week, and now I've been doing it, well, and I've changed to doing it every 10 days. I haven't done it so much in the past few months because I was sick and all out of the loop and stuff, but I'm getting back into it on Instagram. That is to finish off this month. And on the first post where I was declaring what I wanted to do, I said I was going to do a two-ply fractal, yes, with this. And then I looked at the braid again and I was like, I don't really want to fractal it. So my new plan is I am going to spin the singles and then Navajo ply it. And I think I'm going to make myself a cowl out of it, which I'm pretty sure this will be the first hand spun thing that I'll be keeping for myself. But won't that be super pretty? As a cowl, I'm thinking I'm probably going to do my buffalo crossing because that works really well with stripes. And these will be stripes, color blocks, whatever. I think it'll turn out really nicely. That's my thought. And I will insert a picture of what the spinning looks like on the bobbin. I also started a pair of socks because I finished the House Targaryen socks, so I had to start a new pair of socks, right? That's how this works. And they are just barely started. They are not impressive at all. These will be child tube socks. So they won't be super exciting anyway because you've seen about 1,000 pairs of child tube socks from me, right? They're the same colorway. They're for my niece. I am not too worried about matching up the colors. I don't know if she's worried about having matchy-matchy socks, but if she is, whatever, I guess Mara can just have them in, a year or something. The yarn is, I don't remember. I'll put in the information at the bottom of the screen and I'll have it written down next week. I'll be knitting them on US 1 2.25 millimeter needles, magic loop, and yeah, child tube socks. So I started those because Christmas knitting. Christmas is coming, by the way. I know it's only May, but still, I have a lot of socks to knit. I think I did a count and I'm making like 22 pairs of socks for Christmas or something, and also birthday socks and random gift socks and stuff. So yeah, Christmas has to start being knitted on now. As to things that had been started last week, I am still working on the Care Bear. And you can see progress on the legs. So they're both fully crossed, basically. So I only have a little bit of the foot left, and then I have this portion of the cloud completely not stitched. And then this little section here. And this section right here has to be crossed still. I think that I will finish the feet this week, which means I'll be starting a new cross stitch for you to see next week. And then by the following week, this should be a finished object, but not fully finished because I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it. And if you don't know the distinction between finished objects and fully finished objects, I will explain it. In cross stitch world, also known on YouTube as FlossTube, a finished piece is something that you're finished with the stitching on, and a fully finished piece is the piece as it will be displayed. So framed or matted or made into a pillow or however you're going to finish it, put into a quilt, that is when it's fully finished. So I guess it's kind of like when your object is washed and blocked and ends all woven in and all of that. I also worked on the string band hat and have okay progress. These tails are on the incorrect side, so I'll be moving those to the back. I started the hat using a scrap piece. This hat is for my friend Becca, and she started knitting herself some thigh highs ever ago. She started knitting so that we would have something to, like, we would have something in common to do when we were hanging out, which is cute, but not needed. We can do our own things in the same area and hang out. So she knit herself a hat, and that was successful. And then she was like, I want thigh highs. And I was like, I think this is a bad second project. She was like, no, it'll be fine. Well, she got like this far into them and then never worked on them. So I pulled apart the first thigh high to do the border on my sister's blanket last year, on her mitered square blanket. And I used the full first one and part of the second one. So I used the rest of the second one to start this hat, and now it's actually attached to a ball of the Premier Serenity sock, and I think this is the purple stripe colorway. I'm probably just going to keep saying that until I actually look it up, which I don't know when that'll be. So yeah, a partial skein of that is now attached, which should be enough to get me through the whole hat because it is a striped hat. The other color is wool-like, loops and threads wool-like in the ivory colorway. So that's how they're striping, and I made a change to the pattern, the actual pattern itself. I'm doing this as part of the knit along with Foxes and Socks. I don't remember what the knit along is even called, but you get to ask them to pick things for you to make. So there's 5 categories, and you can choose as few as 1 category, but as many as 5 categories for them to pick for you out of a hat. And my categories were hat, fingering weight, self-striping, the color white, and the technique of lace. So the string band doesn't have any lace. So I am adding these eyelet rows, and I'm trying to decide if I want to do them every other white row or if I might do like 3 white rows plain in between each eyelet section. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how I feel next time I do a white section, I guess. Or if I want it to be random. But that's how that's working. The other thing that I'm doing different from the pattern is the bottom ribbing. It was worked in pattern on a size US 3. I worked it on a size 1, which is not too tiny. So there's a band. There's a band that you pick up on the side. So even though there's this gap right here, that will be closed by the band. And I found that the ribbing on my string band stretched out a lot. So I went down to a 1 for this. And instead of a size 4 for the body, I'm using a size 3. I also worked on my steampunkery socks. So last week I was getting ready to start the heels. So I did both heels and the heel turns, and I have started the gusset, just barely, but it's there. So this is the beginning of the pattern repeat. So I think it's like 6 rounds into the pattern down the foot. But again, this is going to be a very slow progress thing because I'm only doing 14 rounds a week. And that's still going to be done in plenty of time for the second quarter. It might be done in May, I'm not sure. It'd be kind of cool to have these as birthday socks. Anyway, what was I going to say about this? Okay, so you've seen the pattern a bunch. It's super cable heavy, super lovely. I changed the heel flap in this. The pattern does call for a heel flap and gusset, but I again did the eye of partridge and the garter edging. Hopefully this fits because it's my new favorite heel flap style. So I've put it in both of the pairs of socks for me and the sock for Haley. Yeah, that's as far as I am in this. The yarn is 716 knit, 716 sock in the Hell Hath No Fury Like a Woman Scorned for Sega. Super pretty, super lovely. Jenna does beautiful things. I want all the speckle yarns from Jenna except the yellow and orange ones because I don't do yellow and orange. And even those I would probably enjoy knitting for someone else. Anyway, yeah, you'll be seeing a lot more of those socks, so I don't really have a lot to say about those. I kind of feel that way about a lot of what I'm knitting on. Sorry, guys. I worked on my Rose City Rollers, which is a pattern by Mara Catherine Brenner. This main body color is Colored Me Twisted and Where's the Kaboom. Heels are done in Leading Man Fiber Arts Showstopper in Royalty. I did that same Eye of Partridge heel with the garter stitch edge, and the cuffs and the toes will also be done in what are you? Pagewood Farms Denali sock in Marine Girl. This is where I was on this sock last week. So I did several inches on this sock and also several inches on this sock. These socks will be completed this week. I was really, really good. I did the elliptical 5 whole days last week, and I still worked on these on the days I didn't elliptical, but elliptical 5 whole days last week. Weekends are hard for keeping up my routine of working out. The pattern is super duper easy. I highly recommend it. It makes really cute short socks. It's super simple. I don't love knitting vanilla socks as a rule, but as short socks, because you're not really going to see them. They're made for wearing, in tennis shoes for me mostly during the summer. That's why I make short socks. It's not like my thigh highs. I'm wearing my temperature thigh highs today, where these are made for warmth and also for being adorable. I wore them to knitting yesterday over a pair of leggings, and someone told me that my outfit was adorable because they could see my temperature thigh highs. Anyway, yeah, I don't really mind making the Rose City Rollers just plain stuck knit. It's good for elliptical knitting. You could easily, obviously, throw on a ribbing pattern or a slip stitch pattern or any pattern to make the Rose City Rollers more exciting if you were not ellipticaling with them, but they're perfect for elliptical knitting. Let's see. Are those all of, I think those are all of my works in progress. I kind of feel like I'm forgetting something, but I'm not, right? That's it. I did also work on the market bag, but not enough to show you. I know I forgot something. So the lighting is not so great now. It's a little bit later and people are mowing their lawns because that happens every single day of the week. Anyway, I made decent progress on the advent calendar. This is the area I was quilting last week. So I finished all of this and I started this area right here. So everything that's stitched is new because I hadn't started the bottom section at all. So the entire middle, I guess this would be like one of the upper bottom quarter, if that makes sense, of the advent calendar. It's not quite, it's more than a third left on the top that needs to be done, but less than a half. So yeah. So anyway, this chunk in the middle is completely stitched down and finished. And so now I went to the bottom because that was less space to do than the top. And I can work all the way to the bottom because if I turn this over, you can see that this back fabric is not as long as the red fabric, and there's no batting showing between. The batting stops right where this safety pin is. I guess you can see that better on the other side. So, yeah, I won't even be stitching in that area at all. So yay that! Advent calendar and a surprise visit from my cat Ducky. So, hi! Now that you're here, you have to say hi to everybody. Look at that face. He doesn't want to. He's not into the camera. Modular projects. I did super well this week. I did this week's quota and mostly made up for last week. Okay, not completely. I didn't do enough hexapuffs to make up for last week, but I did do 2 barn raising squares. So this one is Science Monkey Mercantile in Faraday base in the Rosalind Franklin's overexposed photograph colorway. This one is Marigold Jen in the Yoshi colorway. I did 2 squares on my mitered square blanket. This one is Jennifer Dyes Daisy Knits in the silk sock base. So silk merino in the Wicked Cool Dragonfly colorway, or whatever she's calling it now. I think it was Wicked Cool when I picked it up, and then it changed to Wicked Cool Dragonfly, and I don't know what it is now. And then I used just a little tiny purple scrap to finish it off because I had, I don't know, probably 20 stitches to go when I ran out of that yarn. And then again, the Yoshi colorway from Marigold Jen. And I made 9 hexapuffs. So Yoshi again, because I just love this colorway. And also, I don't think I said it on the podcast. I think I only said it on Instagram. I had the Yoshi sitting next to the, what's that called? Red Hots colorway from Lion Brand. They were both sitting in my yarn bowl. And I was like, oh my gosh, those need to be nephew socks for Christmas. So I wanted to get all of the modular projects made out of the Yoshi yarn right away so that I could set it aside for nephew socks and just use up as much as I needed for the nephew socks and not have to worry about having enough left over for modular projects. I did 2 out of the Stray Cat knits, Stray Cat socks, Electric Avenue. One is a celebratory. I did 1 out of the Rosalind Franklin's overexposed photograph, and the rest are mostly random yarns. So another brown one, and a brown and pink, because I started with this pink and ran out. I had to finish it with something. All 4 of the colors in this are different yarns, but it just looks like a really pretty self-striping, right? I could be a yarn color designer. Colorway designer. All of those stripes are different yarns. And this is a celebratory hexapuff using the think it's just the base color of 716 knit, which I used to make the face of the dragon that I made for Jenna. Dirk the Dragon, that was made out of the modified hamsters colorway. And then the blue is a Regia, and it's a lace weight, and I did not hold it double. So you can see the stuffing through it, but it just looks like a white background. And I knew that was going to happen, and I designed it that way anyway. So I really like the way that one turned out. I won't be making a lot like that where the stuffing is showing, but for that one, I thought it was perfect with the white and the navy. Then I have so many new things this week that I'm going to break it up and show you some next week. But the first new thing is the less exciting thing. Becca and I went to Joann's to get buttons for her hat, and we decided on this Stormy pack because she was so overwhelmed by all the button choices. And I was like, well, I mean, you like gray, so worst case scenario, we can get just a pack of gray buttons and you can pick out the 7 or whatever that you like from that pack. And she was like, okay, that's fine. So I got that. And then all the rest will go in my button jar for using in other random things. And then I have a fabulous package arrive from Judy. I was talking a few weeks ago about knitting on the House Targaryen socks, and the stitches slipped off a needle in my project bag because I was using double points and I didn't have needle minders. And if you've been paying super close attention, you've probably seen that I have a couple needle minder DPN holders, whatever you want to call them, on projects right now. So on my string band hat, I have this lovely one. Judy contacted me and said she had bought snaps for herself and made herself some needle minders and that she would like to make a couple for me. And I said, that would be fabulous. Thank you so much. Ooh, that was really pretty for my hair. Oh well, whatever. So this is Mara's favorite. It has flowers and paisleys and butterflies. So this is the first one I used because Mara obviously got to pick. And then this one is my favorite. It is on a black background, so, you know, that helps. And it's got little cats. And that's on the Cecilia socks. And then the last one is not currently on a project, but it was at a few times this week. And this is the boys. Every guy who I've shown this has been like, yep, that's the best one. Obviously. So it's Blue Flames. And it reminds me of a wallet that I had when I was in high school. I can't remember if it was Blue Flame. I think it was a Blue Flame wallet, but it may have been red. But I'm pretty sure it was blue. So there's that. And she also sent me some gorgeous little project minder keeper thingies. Progress thingies? I don't even remember what they're called right now. My hungry just hit me because I did not have breakfast before starting to record because I wasn't hungry then. Anyway, here they are. There is a little airplane. Stop moving, little airplane. Okay, so an airplane and a bead with an H on it. And they are both super duper lovely. And I really feel that when Gabriel decides that he wants to start knitting again, which happens, you know, intermittently, that the airplane and this one are probably going to be his go-to things, which is awesome. I'm super excited for that, but I'll be using them in the meantime. And then the last thing I have is reading. So I finished listening to Bloodright by Jim Butcher, which was good. It's read by James Marsters and started the next book in the series. I think it's book 7, which is Deadbeat, also read by James Marsters on Audible. And I'm on track 2. I finished track 2 of 43. So just barely started it. I finished all of my podcasts. Like I caught up completely to the ones that I have watched. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll listen to 2 tracks instead of 1 track of this book because I don't have any podcasts to watch. And then I am still reading Twilight. So got it out from the library last week and was reading my way through it. I'm on page 361 of 498. So pretty close. I don't work tonight, so I might finish it while I'm knitting on some fairly easy projects. I think the only thing that I can't knit and read at the same time right now that I'm working on is the steampunkery. I think that's the only knitting where I can't. So I'll be reading that so I can give it back to the library and start different books. I didn't talk about this last week because I forgot, but over my shoulder here, I cleared off that top shelf because my sister lent me 2 series. Did I talk about this? I may have. I can't remember. I'll talk about it anyway because whatever. She lent me 2 series. One is one of my favorites from high school. I think I talked about this now that I'm discussing. Whatever. I'm still going to babble about it. So one is my favorite and one is her favorite. So I'll be reading those soon. And I want to finish the Twilight book so I can start those. And I think I'm going to... My idea right now for the rotation is probably read one of the Sonia Black novels, read one of the Black Jewels novels, and then read a book that has nothing to do with either of them. That way I space them out so I don't get tired of reading about a character. P.S. There's a new book out by Kira Cass in the Selection series, and my library doesn't have it. Super sad. I might buy it. I haven't decided yet. I might see if one of the other library thingies around here has it. It's not a branch. It's a system, library system. Does that sound right? Around here has it. But I might buy it because I really do like Kira Cass's stuff. I wonder if it's less expensive in Kindle edition than hard copy. Probably. I don't know. I like the books a lot. I'm not committed to needing them for my personal library yet, though. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on reading those books. And I also listened to Sense and Sensibility a little bit. I'm on disc 5 of 9. And I still have a week of that out from the library, so I should be easy peasy to finish that before it's due back. That's all I have for you this week. I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string, and I will see you next week. Bye!